Maxton Hall Season 2 Episode 4 opens with a deeply emotional and tragic moment that takes the audience by surprise. A flashback to a beautiful memory is abruptly interrupted by a devastating car crash. This sudden shift sets the emotional tone for the entire episode and signals that things are only going to get more intense from here on out. As graduation approaches, Ruby is still holding on a hope for her future. Her Oxford interviews seem to go well, and she begins to feel optimistic about the life ahead of her. However, a shadow lingers over her happiness. James has completely vanished from her life, and she hasn't heard a word from him. That silence is more deafening than anything she could have imagined. Ruby's concern turns to heartbreak when she finds James at a party, completely broken down and under the influence. Worse still, she catches him in an emotionally messy moment, kissing Elaine, the very girl who's always posed a threat to their fragile relationship. This scene is not only shocking but also gut-wrenching for viewers who have invested emotionally in their journey. Ruby's world comes crashing down. And just when it seems like things couldn't get worse, the next day brings even more devastating news. Cordelia is dead. Her death hits everyone hard, but especially James, who had a deep, complicated connection with her. Ruby tries to support James through the grief, but the hurt from the night before is too fresh, too raw. Seeing those pictures of James and Elaine circulating only deepens her sense of betrayal and rejection. She begins to withdraw emotionally, creating a distance between her and James that wasn't there before. The emotional weight of the episode is heavy, especially during Cordelia's funeral, where more family secrets are hinted at. Mortimer and Oilia's tension is rising, and while Oilia is determined to stand by James and Lydia, Mortimer's cold indifference to grief and pain begins to feel more sinister than ever. James is clearly spiraling. After the funeral, he drives off recklessly while trying to call Ruby, only for her to ignore the call. In a moment that feels almost symbolic of their broken connection, James crashes his car. Luckily, his injuries are minor, but the emotional trauma continues to build. The growing rift between him and Ruby feels more permanent than ever. Ruby's Oxford acceptance is another high point. After everything, this is the moment she has worked so hard for. When she finally gets the news, it's emotional, uplifting, and perfectly timed, a reminder that not everything is lost. Her family celebrates with her, and for a short time, things seem to brighten. However, the past refuses to stay buried. James, unable to shake off the shame and trauma he's been carrying, finally reaches a breaking point. He asks Ruby for another chance, clearly wanting to make things right. But Ruby, still bruised by what happened with Elaine, refuses. It's not an angry or dramatic rejection. It's a quiet but firm boundary. She tells James she's tired of always having to be strong for him, tired of waiting for him to stop hurting her. The show also gives us a brief, but heartbreaking look into James's childhood. Through a flashback, we see a young James being forced by his father Mortimer to suppress his pain. No tears, no weakness, Mortimer insists. This sheds light on James's emotional repression and inability to properly deal with grief or guilt. It becomes clearer than ever that James's trauma runs deeper than Ruby ever knew. Despite the emotional distance, fate seems determined to keep bringing Ruby and James back together. At the charity gala Ruby worked so hard to organize, everything initially starts to fall apart. An accident nearly ruins the setup, throwing the entire event into chaos. But Ruby refuses to give up. With James and others helping her rebuild, the event is saved just in time. When Scott Granger fails to show up as keynote speaker, James steps up unexpectedly. His speech is heartfelt, mature, and moving. A rare moment where he shows what he's truly capable of when he lets his guard down. Looking ahead to episode 5, or perhaps even the latter half of the season, we can expect major confrontations. Ruby and James need to have a real conversation about the betrayal, about the underlying issues that keep tearing them apart. Without this, their relationship is doomed to repeat its toxic cycle. We also need to see Lydia's story reach some kind of resolution, ideally with her choosing to protect her babies and gaining the support she so desperately needs. And with James starting therapy, there's a real chance for growth, Not just for him, but for Ruby too. Maybe their paths will align again, but only if they've both truly changed. What do you guys think about this subject? I welcome your thoughts in the comments. For more such videos, you can subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and like our video. See you again. Goodbye.